maybe education is getting the public to appreciate our craft and what we do and value it enough that they're willing to pay for the training, the resources required to achieve it, and then the dedication and skill of the smith. Oftentimes I'll go into the shop and try things and lay things out to scale, to size, and so many of the design issues in a project are resolved when you lay it out to the size you're going to make it in. And that's when everything kind of has to come together. And so that's the process. And you know, so when you have that design, you start to work out the details. Many of the details, especially in a forged piece, are done by trial and error from your experience, and you say, well, I haven't done this before, but maybe if I try this, and the material will tell you, you're not on the right track, you need to, and sometimes in the middle of the night you realize you're going about it wrong. A lot of inspiration comes from our unconscious mind, and if it's forced or prompted too much, it just doesn't come out right. So there's a lot of aspect of trusting your intuition, your non-conscious intellect, to resolve problems and realize and come to good resolutions of problems. Iron. In the elemental evolution, all elements want to become iron. It develops our earth and protects the atmosphere from the solar wind. Without that molten core, we would look like Mars. The sun would have just ripped all the atmosphere away from the earth, and all the moisture would evaporate out into space, and it would be desert, and no life would exist. Another magic of iron is that its affinity for oxygen. If it weren't for the iron in our blood, we could not breathe oxygen. It's the iron that binds with oxygen that makes respiration possible. Oxygen in, carbon dioxide out. And then plants, it's the reverse. They breathe in carbon dioxide, our exhaust gas, and give us back oxygen. So that's why the plant world is so important to our existence. Of all the elements, and all the elements they're not stable. Even diamonds degrade and change. The core, the nucleus of the atom that makes that element is iron. In the elemental evolution, all elements want to become iron because it has that stable core. It's not the heaviest element, certainly not the most light. All these incredible dimensions to the medium that have drawn me in and made me feel really good and strong. Well, there's so many different types of blacksmiths. There were always artist blacksmiths, believe it or not, as far as we know. And there were always tool makers. There were always weapons makers, armor makers. There were always, every village had at least a smith, if not more. The bigger the village, the more smiths in town, making all the hardware needed for the whatever level civilization was at that time. And smithing is still part of our culture. It's used industrially. You know, everything that's subjected to a lot of force needs to be forged. There are so many great paths in the world, and you just have to explore and trust your intuition. Trust that little voice in your head that say, wow, this is something that really sounds good. That's the advice I would give you. Trust your unconscious mind, that inspiration you get in the middle of the night or in the morning when you wake up, because you know your conscious mind can get in the way a lot. It can confuse things and make things difficult to understand, or often when you're trying to come up with a solution or an idea, your rational linear conscious mind will go at it the wrong way. Whereas at night when you're asleep and the unconscious mind is just cycling through all these things over and over, it'll find the back door. It'll find the new way. But learn to hear that voice that says this is something that moves you, that resonates. And you just have to find that for yourself. And it can be whether it's your video production, telling stories. There are so many different great career paths in the world, helping others or just making money. I mean, that's what moves some people. It never did quite move me, obviously. But that's my advice, is to keep seeking, keep trying new things, and listen to that little voice in your head and your intuitions, because often your unconscious mind is wiser than your conscious mind.